Hello, thanks for joining and watching. Today I'm going to give you a couple of hints how to optimize your semantic models in Power BI. If you're probably working in a corporate world, you might face an issue where your model gets big simply, and it might overload your capacity. So we want to somehow make it smaller and optimize it in terms of capacity usage or even the experience that the end users have with it. So I want to start with some very basic but crucial things. At first, we should always discuss how much history we actually need within our semantic models. Yeah, so that's the case that sometimes you ask the business guys, hey, how much data you would like to see? And they're going to say, hey, I need all of the data since, I don't know, last 10 years. And honestly, it doesn't make sense, yeah, because you always need to have a look and discuss it and make sure that you always find the best approach and the best solution that's gonna fit into the business needs. It's really crucial to find a reasonable point of history that we want to store within the semantic model. Another thing that is very crucial and might sound trivial, and everyone seems to follow it, but it turns out that they don't, is to simply store within the model the objects that are actually needed. Yeah, so this means that we don't load everything from the your data warehouse or your data lake house. We just keep focus on the keys and attributes that are needed for our semantic model. Yeah, so these are the two things that I want to stress out that are very useful and very crucial, but sometimes the developers and the business users don't care much about it, and then it turns out that the model is becoming very big. Another scenario that I want to show you out right now is the case regarding data types that are being used for storing your data. So you see, I created some kind of a sample table called types matter, and it contains sales and sales date and sales time stored or shown in a different manner. Yeah, so you see, we've got some sales timestamp that contains both date and the time up to seconds. Then we've got the sales date stored as regular date. Then we've got the sales date stored as int, and then the other fields that you can see as well. And what I did was having this data loaded into my Power BI desktop, so it's there within my model. Then I ran DAX Studio, and within the DAX Studio you can find a very cool feature called View Metrics. So if you go to the Advanced tab and click on View Metrics, and then Vertipack Analyzer, then you can have a look at your tables that are there within your model. And as I mentioned, and the types do matter, as you can see in terms of size, because let's have a look. The sales timestamp that was being stored in this original way, I mean like this one, it weighs a lot, yeah? So you see, it weighs like 83% of this particular table, and in our case, 83% of this particular model, yeah? So if we had it optimized somehow, and here are the suggestions that you can go. You can split the date, you can have it split into date, or maybe even store date as integer. That's very typical for data warehouse or data lakehouse uses. Then you can also split the time. You don't need that actually, that precision, yeah? So you can maybe even have some kind of a time dimension or store the time as simply as an integer, yeah? And if you have it done, and then you can see that the model size is gonna decrease, yeah? Simply because you see, I got my sales date stored as integer, and it's very small if you have it compared even to a regular sales date. Having it stored as a date instead of all of this information like sales timestamp is actually very cool for our data, for our model as well, because you see from 83% up to 0.11% of the whole model, which means that it is very crucial how you actually store your data. So please avoid situations like this and go for this or this or this or this approach. Another good practice is to use some kind of aggregations once pulling the data into your semantic model. Yeah. So we've got a sales row table that you can see in here, and it contains information regarding dates, some order numbers, products, the sales amount, and the other attributes that you can see in here. And yeah, it's just the raw data, But maybe, why don't we aggregate it? Yeah, so I created a view on top of a table because my business users actually need the data to be aggregated up to category, country, and sales date level, and the total sales can be rounded. Yeah, and if I pull this kind of data into my semantic model, which I actually did for this particular case, you see I got it sales aggregated and sales row pulled into my Power BI semantic model. When I again run the view metrics analysis in DAX Studio, and you can see that the sales aggregated table weighs 4 times less than the sales row. So it's good practice to aggregate the data. Generally speaking, the process of optimizing semantic models is very complex one, yeah, but I wanted today share with you a couple of hints that you can start using like immediately to make your semantic models more optimized. Thanks for watching.